Alright guys, Zachman18 here. Welcome back to the WTZM TV channel 18 Superstation. It is time for Let's Play number 58 on my Zachman18 channel, in which we're going to be heading back into the Ace Attorney series. This is going to be Apollo Justice Ace Attorney on the DS. This takes place, this is the fourth, it's kind of the fourth game. Yeah, it is the fourth game, because the Miles Edgeworth is its own kind of game. But it's still in kind of but it's still the same characters. But this is kind of this is basically number 4 of the Ace Attorney series, and this takes place. This is the one after Trials and Tribulations, which we completed recently. We're gonna get started. I am so excited to play this. I got this a few months ago, but now I am ready to play it. I'm so excited. Episode 1, Turnabout Trump. Let's do this. But yes, I did play a couple Ace Attorney cases before this, so that way I'm prepared. Some of the old cases that we've played. Gotta turn my Ace Attorney brain on. I got my own brain for that. Pretty impressive. You lose. Oh. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. Uh-oh. I seem to be in a bit of trouble. Something like that. Dead. Someone hit him hard. Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that? Holy crap. Oh, I'm pumped. April 20th, 9:37 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Alright, so I don't want to do the same voice as Phoenix, because for Dual Destinies, I want to keep I want to have an Apollo voice and a Phoenix voice, since they're both going to be in the game. Panic, palms sweaty. I can't admit it, I'm nervous. Good morning. Oh, it's a guy. Good morning, sir. I'll do a Chase McCain voice. That sounds great. You look tense, Justice. Wound up tight. Wound up, sir? No, I'm loose. I'm fine. That screeching noise, is that your voice? I suppose it's to be expected. Your first trial, and it's a homicide. I guess justice doesn't start small, eh? I'm fine. I got up at 5 a.m. to do my Chords of Steel voice workout. I'm fine. That explains it. I did detect a certain rasping quality to your screech. I overdid it again. As you know, your client today is a good friend of mine. I wouldn't want to let him down. If you get my drift. Drift gotten, sir. I'm all over that drift. As it happens, I dined with him the night of the murder. We can't let this case fall through. Yes, I'm fine, sir. One more thing. Don't say you're fine quite so much. People might take you the wrong way. I'll be preparing our case. You might want to introduce yourself to the client. Alright. My name is Apollo Justice. Alright, so here's the court record. So we've got our attorney's badge in here. I don't need to show you guys this. I'll just read you what it says. I'll show you a little bit, I guess. How long did I yearn for one of these? Just putting it on makes me feel ready. Smith's autopsy report. The time of death was around 2 a.m. April 17th. Death caused by single blow to forehead. Crime photo 1. The sub-basement at the Borscht Bowl Club. Check the button for details. Okay. Alright. My name is Apollo Justice. If it isn't clear already, I'm a new attorney. And today is my first trial. Not that I'm worried or anything. The defendant has been accused of murder. My boss wants to help him out, of course, and so do I. I mean, there's no way he did it. Not him, no way. Whoa. Good morning. Morning. It's all up to you. What should I do for a voice for this client? Morning. It's all up to you today. First trial, nervous. Meeting him, cardiac arrest. I think I'm supposed to say something. Help? So you're... Fine, I'm fine. That's too similar. Oh, Mr. Fine, is it? I'm not sure if Edgeworth is in this game. I did remember you having an old name. Well, we're off to a great start. That doesn't seem like the voice for him. Are you sure you're okay? I mean, with me? Mr. Gavin is a top-notch defense attorney, and he's your friend. So why? You'll see. More like a dude type thing. You can do it. Be confident. I'm really sorry this happened to you. It's time, shall we? Yes, sir. Okay, I need to focus. First trial. Here comes justice. Alright. April 20th, 10 o'clock a.m., District Court, courtroom number 2. The court is now in session. Oh my god, look at Payne! Oh my god.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
The defense is, fine. I'm ready, Your Honor. Mind going blank? Don't panic. Too late.
Your name was Mr. Justice, and this is your first trial?
Yes, Your Honor, but I'm fine, really.
Are you quite sure? Your voice sounds a bit strained. Mr. Gavin?
Yes, Your Honor.
I was under the impression that you would be heading up this case.
That was my intention, yes. However, a defense attorney must always accede to his client's wishes, and my client specifically requested Mr. Justice.
Well, of course he wants justice, but to entrust his case to his greenhorn, why? I do not exaggerate when I say that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin.
Okay, so Gavin's got trial experience, fine, but does he have cords of steel?
Now let's begin. The defendant may enter the courtroom.
Okay.
This is truly an unfortunate turn of events. What? I'm sorry we had to meet again under these circumstances. Long time no see.
What? What? That's Phoenix? Are you serious? Why does he look like that? What? Hold on, I gotta check the... Oh, there's profiles in here. My first client... Okay, he's still... Okay, he's questioned out. Oh my god, that's insane! What happened? Oh man, alright, here we go. I'm sorry.
Long time no see, Mr. Wright.
Let's put the past behind us, shall we? Okay, now I can go back to my regular voice. These days, I'm merely Phoenix Wright, piano player. Mr. Wright, how could this have happened?
I won't speak of it further then. If the prosecution would be so kind as to explain the charges, Mr. Payne.
To think I saw you enter this room a fresh attorney and now I'll see you leave in chains.
Ah, Winston Payne, subtle as ever I see. This is awesome.
Ahem. This crime occurred at the Boris Bowl Club, a restaurant. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, took the victim, a customer.
It feels so weird to say that he's a defendant.
And he hit him wham on the head, smack, killed him cold.
A customer at the restaurant, you say? And the defendant, you say he was...
The pianist for the club, it seems.
Phoenix Wright, a pianist?
This is the weapon that took the victim's life. A bottle of grape juice. Grape juice is apparently our defendant's drink of choice.
The court accepts the deadly bottle as evidence.
Okay. How far in the future is this? I mean, it's just weird. Something to note, Justice. All evidence is filled in the court record. Make a practice of checking it frequently. The court record, right. I've heard of that. Use the court record button to look at the evidence so far. I'm confident in your ability to handle this. Right, the court record button. Sounds like it's time for some hands-on action. Alright, so let's see what the autopsy report says again. The time of death was around 2 a.m., April 17th. Death caused by single blow to forehead. Got to keep that in mind. Deadly bottle. Grape juice bottle used as the murder weapon bears the defendant Mr. Wright's prints. So we can examine that if we wanted to.
So the victim was a customer at this restaurant. But just who was this, Shady Smith fellow?
We believe he was a traveler, Your Honor.
A traveler?
According to his passport, he had been out of the country for a number of years. He only returned to this country recently, though his place of residence is unclear.
And he had some sort of connection with the defendant?
That, too, is unclear at present, Your Honor. We believe they first met at the Boris Bowl Club on the night of the crime.
If they had only just met, then why murder? Perhaps the victim slighted the defendant's piano playing.
That doesn't appear to have been the case. No, the motive had nothing to do with the defendant's lack of playing skill. At least not piano playing. I'll let this photo explain what I mean.
I like this new music.
As we can see, a game of poker was in progress at the scene of the crime.
Wait a second, isn't poker gambling? That's a crime in and of itself.
Indeed, it appears our defendant has fallen to become the basest sort of criminal.
Oh, this is cool. I can actually just skip the text by pressing A 2 times. It'll make it much faster. Oh, that's him. Okay. Okay, I thought it was us.
It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim, yet it was only that, a game, in the purest sense, a competition, Your Honor. A competition? Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passions. Only the cards, the backs were wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome.
Come again?
The cards on the table had blue backs, Your Honor. I believe the defense was waxing poetic in an attempt to mystify those present and impress women.
That will be our first order of business here then, to find out more about this fatal game of cards. Very well, defendant. You will testify to the court about the poker competition held the night of the crime.
My pleasure. This is it, my first trial. Here goes nothing. First testimony of the game, a competition. I am a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table. The room where we play in the competition in there are the club's main attractions. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards, and that's all it is, a game, and our customers are happy.
A pianist who can't play piano.
Better than a defense attorney who can't defend.
Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination.
Right, Your Honor. My first cross-examination. Don't blow it. You all right? You're sweating bullets. Bullets? Where? It's a big-ass speech, Justice. Your voice sounds strained and raspy, too. My brain feels strained and raspy, sir. You've watched me perform cross-examinations many times, though you've never done one yourself, have you? Care for a refresher? What to do? Should I ask Mr. Gavin for a refresher course in cross-examination? No, I'm pretty sure there won't be any extra information. No need for help here, sir. I think I've got this one covered. I think you better do more than think. You know it, or you do not. I'm fine. The cords of steel are ready for battle. My weapons, press and present. Find any inconsistencies and any lies in the testimony and reveal them to the court. That is cross-examination. Learn it, know it, do it. Inconsistencies? Lies? Phoenix Wright? As if. Phoenix Wright would never lie, and it's up to me to prove it.
The defense may begin the cross-examination.
Oh, this feels weird. Ugh. Alright. On the DS version, if you hold Y, you can actually, if you yell hold it, it should work. Hold it! Haha. You can hardly play? Oh, I play sometimes when customers demand it, so I play them one song. That's usually all they want. Was that supposed to be a boast just now? The title of pianist is a mask, a respectable face I wear for the world at large.
Why are you really at the Borscht Folk Club?
Hold it! That works so well. They pay you just to play poker? That would seem to be the case. I am a professional after all.
Bah, do I take pride in that statement? It's just hard for an honest, hard-working member of society like me to imagine.
Yes, your imagination was always a bit limited, Winston.
What?
I played poker for 7 years in that little room, and I've never lost once. This is like 7 years in the future. Holy crap. What? You see why the customers come now? Defeat the undefeated poker champion. It's quite a draw. That is, I'm quite a draw. Wait, you've never lost once? Not even one time? As I said, I'm a professional. He's played poker for 7 years and not lost once. Is that even possible? Hold it! The room in the crime scene photo is an attraction? It has quite a history, actually. The Borscht Boat Club used to be a gathering spot for black market types back in the day. Black market? All in the past. Things like the black market are only on the silver screen nowadays. Suffice it to say that there are a lot of deals being made under the table. Right there in that room.
A smoky room gambling hoods, you know. Just looking at this picture makes me feel bad.
The bosses gather around the table cutting deals safe from the eyes of the law. Meanwhile, a goon keeps watch through the small window. I could practically picture it now. That window does look like it would be good for keeping a little lookout, but little else. The room had a few other tricks to it, though it was common knowledge to our regulars. At any rate, they come to play poker in a room steeped in history. Despite the dark past, it was all just good, clean fun. Hold it! 2 decks of cards? A simple measure to prevent cheating. If you alternate 2 decks, no one can slip in cards.
There's something else I noticed. In addition to the cards on the table, there are some lying scattered on the floor.
Precisely. Cards on the table, cards upon the floor, each one forming a complete deck. A crime scene painted blue by a sad sweep of cards. It's poetic, really.
Incidentally, we used 2 types of cards at the club. One deck of cards was red, the other blue.
As I recall in poker, you made 5-card hands. I could see how it would be easy to cheat.
Yes, a game of hands. Huh?
This competition you're talking about.
Okay, so I think we're getting somewhere. So let me just look in the evidence one more time. Time of death was around 2 a.m., single blow to the forehead. Okay.
I believe the court understands the nature of the game sufficiently.
That's right. It was a simple game after all.
Are you sure? People are not murdered over simple games, Mr. Justice. Defendant, you were in the room the very moment that crime occurred. Yet you claim no connection to the crime?
Now that's strange.
What's strange?
I was testifying about the competition that night. Asking me about the crime at this point is against the rules, Your Honor. Of course, I expected to hear a cry of objection from the defense.
I flew let that one slip by. Don't despair yet, Justice.
Sir?
Right, there's something I'd like to make clear. Namely, your connection to the case at hand, and I'd like to hear from you.
Sure, why not? Oh, that was him, sorry.
Very well, the defendant will amend his testimony.
Just one little press, and I've got myself a whole new testimony. Okay. So this has got to be something new. I plead silence regarding the murder, but I say I will say I never touched the murder weapon. Well, that's not true, because we read the bottle, and it says that it bears your fingerprints on it. Objection! So you say you didn't touch the murder weapon, the grape juice bottle, right? So I said.
Something the matter, Mr. Justice?
What the heck is he doing?
Too bad our new defense attorney never learned how to play dumb.
What's this, Mr. Payne?
I examined the bottle in question, you see.
Oops, sorry.
And it was covered with the defendant's fingerprints.
Objection!
No need to shout, Mr. Justice. I can hear you just fine.
Excess yelling can damage the judge's ears and our case.
But what about my cords of steel? Anyway, what's so strange about fingerprints on a bottle in a restaurant?
Well, that's true.
Oh, they wouldn't prove a thing if they were normal fingerprints.
Huh?
But the fingerprints on the murder weapon were upside down.
Upside down? What does that mean?
It means he was holding the bottle inverted, and there can be only one reason for that. Yes. To brain someone with the bottle.
Mr. Gavin, I think things just took a turn for the worse.
Oh? I see no problem, Justice.
Huh?
The only thing that matters is the truth. There's a good reason for everything, you'll see.
Defendant, can you explain your fingerprints on this bottle to the court?
I stand by my plea of silence regarding the murder. For now.
Not very cooperative, are you? This could hurt your case.
I'm sure he's uncooperative because he's hiding something. There must be some reason. Your Honor, you seem to have forgotten something.
And what might that be, Mr. Gavin?
On the night of the crime, who was it who reported the murder to the police?
Reported?
Well, that was the defendant, Mr. Wright. But still that...
Really?
Yes. Well, according to the case file, the murder was reported from near the scene by a call from the defendant's cell phone.
Near the scene?
Let's take a look at a diagram of the murder scene, shall we? The victim was murdered in a small room in a basement 2 floors down from ground level. Of course, cell phones can't get reception so far down. The defendant used the stairs in this hallway to go above ground. The call came from the first floor of the restaurant.
I see. And this is the phone that made the call.
Oh my god. Sorry, guys. There's printing going on right now. Sorry, my printer's making weird noises. Wright's cell phone added to the court record. Okay.
The defendant could have just fled the scene of the crime if he so chose.
Okay, use by the defendant to notify the police from the restaurant's first floor. Okay.
Yet he fulfilled his duty as a citizen and reported it to the authorities. And you claim he is being uncooperative?
Nice save, Mr. Gavin. I'd better not waste this.
I think the prosecution has toyed with our client enough for the time being.
I'm really sorry, guys. Okay. There's more stuff printing out. Okay.
Toyd, I assure you, no one is more serious about. What was it you said? The defendant was in the room the very moment that the crime occurred. How can you possibly know this?
That's a good question. How indeed?
The answer is simple, Your Honor. The prosecution is a decisive witness. You're as good as they say you are. So someone else was in the room the night of the crime. That must mean they witnessed the crime. Everything up until now has been a warm-up, Justice. Are you ready?
Very well. The prosecution may call its first witness to the stand.
What the heck?
The witness will state her name and profession.
Hold on just a moment. Where's the witness?
It's to me that she has been frightened by the defense's demonic-looking horns.
So I used a little hair gel. Relax, people.
Have no fear. If any horns point in your direction, this court will cut them off.
You are sure?
I swear on my gavel. Please, come out.
Isn't violence against hair a crime, Your Honor?
Well, you are sure it is okay.
Now the prosecution. Wait a minute. Would the prosecution care to explain the witness's paraphernalia?
Yes. She's a professional, Your Honor. These are merely the tools of their trade.
And that would be...
My name is Olga Orley. I'm employed as a waitress in Portugal Club Restaurant.
Then why the camera?
Of course, it is my pride to serve borscht at a naming restaurant. But I also perform how it's this other service.
I take it one of these other services is taking the customer's pictures.
Like, for example, this one.
Oh boy. That's the defendant.
Indeed, on the night of the murder.
Man in white hat is one who has gone kaput.
Indeed, that is the victim. Order. This is quite a piece of evidence to casually drop into our laps.
In the same way as I drop cold bowls of borscht on laps of customers casually.
Then the court will casually accept this new evidence.
Now, witness, where were you at the time of the murder?
I was in room the hideout, we call it.
Excuse me? The hideout?
It is room where famous gangster bad guy was arrested.
A bad guy?
His room where murder took place.
What?
You look of utter surprise. It is lovely. I will post my courtroom door light there later for you. Photos will be numbered, and you'll write which ones you want copy of.
So there were 3 people in the room at the time of the crime. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and Olga Orley, our witness. And if Mr. Wright isn't the killer, that means...
Very well, witness. You will testify to the court about that night's events.
Alright, we got a testimony here. I have a feeling we have to present something here, so let's read the testimony first.
That night, customer asked me to deal cards for a game. It was called Both Players Play with Hats On, The victim he plays the whole time with his hand on locket at his neck. Then the last hand is done, but something terrible has happened, A man flew a victim and is strangling him to death.
Wait a second, how did he die? Time of death. Death caused by single blow to forehead. He didn't strangle him, you idiot.
Incidentally, who won the game?
Isn't it obvious the winner was the victim, Mr. Smith?
That's ridiculous, because Mr. Wright can't lose. Justice, maybe you can come up with a more legitimate objection? But he hadn't lost in 7 years.
Take it from me, kid, it happens. I didn't lose the case my first 7 years as prosecutor either. Incidentally, I have some evidence here. These are the poker chips as they lay the very moment of the crime. The hand and chips on the side belong to the defendant, Mr. Wright. Those on the far side belong to the victim, Mr. Smith.
Chips, you say?
Yeah, yes. I imagine that poker is war. Your hand is your army, and the chips are the spoils.
I know that. After all, in my youth, I was always known as the poker head of quarter number 3.
I think he means poker face.
Looking at this picture, it does seem that most of the chips are on the victim's side of the table.
Okay, chip photo.
Very well, the defendants may cross-examine the witness.
Alright, so that's got to be what we got to present on, because he was shot. He wasn't strangled. Objection! Man, I love that feature. Oh, really? Strangled, you say? That's odd.
Normal customers only choke on borscht.
No, I mean this report shows that the victim died of a blow to the head. Miss Orley, or really now, did you witness the crime? Whoa, she did that with her eyes closed.
Looking at the picture, it doesn't seem like he was hit. He's still wearing his hat and everything.
Yeah, it is the fact that he was hit, Your Honor. Here's a photo we took of the victim with his hat off during our investigation.
Well, that's quite shocking, isn't it? This head certainly was hit.
But I have seen it happen. The defendant, he lunged the victim his neck.
Oh, really, Miss Orley? I think I've caught you in your own lie this time. Justice, I admire your enthusiasm, but perhaps you can think this through once more.
What do you mean? I found a contradiction.
There's one thing in her testimony that troubles me.
Very well. It seems we should continue the cross-examination.
There's such a thing as thinking too much.
All right, let's take a look at this photo. Photo of forehead, hat removed during investigation. Touch the check button for details. Okay.
This horse is dead. Let's stop beating it. There's such a thing as thinking aloud too much, too.
All right. Victim, he plays whole time with his hand on locket at his neck. Does he wear a locket? Ha! He has no locket on, dummy. Objection! Man, this is really easy so far.
You know, there was one curious part in her testimony, just like Mr. Gavin said. But what does it mean?
Mr. Justice, would you care to explain what it is you're thinking so intensely about?
Recall the testimony, Your Honor. The victim played with his hand on locket at his neck, I believe she said. I hope you aren't about to raise an objection to the witness's grammar. No, but look at this photograph. Do you see a locket on the victim's neck? Well done, Justice. I'm impressed. I knew you'd be able to handle this.
But what does it mean? If we are to believe this witness's testimony as is, then the locket disappeared following the victim's death.
Lockets don't just disappear, Your Honor. It's quite simple when you think about it. If the locket is gone, someone must have taken it off, no?
Taking it off?
Wait, you don't mean... The defendant wasn't strangling the victim at all. He was taking off his locket. Wouldn't that explain it?
Defendant, what do you have to say to this? Say.
Yes?
I just noticed this, but... You have something hanging around your neck, don't you? Oh, shoot.
Oh, you mean this? Yes, it's a locket with a photograph inside. A photo of my daughter. Whoa, what? He has a daughter? What happened in these 7 years? I don't get this. Come again?
Mr. Wright, you have a daughter?
We confirmed it at the time of the arrest. The picture in the locket is indeed Mr. Wright's daughter.
So Mr. Wright has a locket, too. Why don't I buy that this is just a coincidence?
Well now, if the results of this poker game led to the murder, perhaps we should hear a bit more about the outcome of the game.
Further testimony won't really be necessary. It's clear the defendant lost badly.
Miss Orley, you will testify to the court about the game played between the victim and defendant.
She's weird. Alright.
The game began with 3,500 points and chips for each man. House chips come in two sizes, small and large. The one who was winning, it was victim. For last hand, defendant play with all chips on table and loose. The one who lost was decided defendant grabs spot off from table in.
Indeed, looking at this picture, it does seem to be an all one-sided game.
As the court knows, poker was the defendant's life. Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow.
How many times have I heard those words? I done it in a fit of anger, Your Honor, and now I regret what I've done. A common tale, but true.
Methinks the judge watches too many old court movies. Mr. Wright said he hasn't lost in 7 years, so this testimony must be wrong.
Cross-examination.
Hold it! Are those the usual starting points? Were any special rules used?
No, not special. Usual game. Usual rules.
If each man began with 3,500 points, then the total would be, exactly 7,000 points.
Please, this isn't calculus. It's not even long division. Hold it! Are the chips in this photo all the chips that were used? Something's fishy with these chips. Should I press harder?
Sure. Maybe you could explain a bit about these chips?
Explain? What is there to be explained?
Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fishing chips, not a chip off the old block, not a... What?
Thanks. Now that I've pressed her, I better ask something. What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars or rubies even?
Yeah, as I have been saying before, it was game, not gambling. Or perhaps for capitalists to understand. Two types of chip, 100 points chip and 1,000 points chip. Is that money, Doc?
Justice? Sir? Don't you find her comment interesting? In more ways than one, sir. I'd have it added to her testimony myself.
Well, does this offense want the witness to add it to her testimony?
Yes. Yes, I do think this... Oh, sorry. Yes, I do think this deserves further scrutiny. And add it to the testimony. I wish I knew where I was going with this.
Very well, witness, if you would be so kind.
Yeah, Your Honor.
Okay, so one kind of chip is worth 100 points, other kind is worth 1,000, two kinds in all. Okay, so since she added something, this has got to be what we got to present on. Okay, crime. Let's take a look at that chip photo again, because I think... What kind? So since she added it, we have to present it on this one, I'm pretty sure. Or this photo. I think the chip... Well, since we're talking about chips, I think we should probably present the chip photo. I mean, it only makes sense. Objection! You're sure it was the victim who won? Absolutely sure?
It seems our new attorney is a bit confused. A glance at this picture is enough to tell you who won, if you're not in kindergarten.
Just for safety's sake, could you explain the problem to the court?
Of course, Your Honor. In this photo I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, which were worth 1,000 points?
Why, the big ones, of course, duh.
Oh, I thought so too. But then the totals don't add up.
The totals?
Let's review what the witness told us. Each man started with 3,500 points in chips, and the combined total value of the chips was 7,000 points.
Yes, and my calculations are correct. Let's see, 3 plus 1, carry the 5.
They are, Your Honor. Now, look at this photo that allegedly shows all the chips. Oh yeah, there's way more there. If the big chips are worth 1,000 points and the small chips are worth 100, and you add them up,
How much is it?
do it yourself. You aren't in kindergarten, are you? 10,600 points. The chips don't add up. This clearly contradicts the witness's testimony.
Yeah, baby.
But why? How could this be?
Exactly, Justice. Now that you know the what, you must determine the why. Right, there's only one possible way to explain this contradiction. Starting points were wrong, chip count was wrong, or both were right. Is it saying all of the above? Chip points were wrong, chip was wrong. Either this one... I'm gonna say both were right. Each man began the game with 3,500 points. If all the chips are indeed shown in this photograph, then there can only be one answer.
Well, what is it?
The value of the chips was the other way around.
What?
Want to know what I think? The small chips were worth 1,000 points, not the big ones.
Madness, utter madness.
Show me that photograph of the chips again. There are 6 small chips and 10 large chips. Why, that does make 7,000 points when you add them up.
Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured it out by yourself. Well, I'm just glad I was the one who said it.
But wait, the value of the chips may be different, but that changes nothing.
Indeed, the victim did have the larger number of chips still. Ah.
Exactly. If the small chips are 1,000 points and the large chips are 100, let's do a little math. Add up the points for each side of the table.
The victim, Mr. Smith, had 2,900 points and the defendant had 4,100 points.
Well now, it seems that Mr. Wright was winning that night after all.
That's impossible.
My client had even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning. Yeah! Now, Miss Orley, you must have known the true value of the chips, since you were there at the scene of the crime, weren't you?
Order, order! It appears the defendant has lost his motive, and Mr. Wright's supposed defeat never happened. We must now ask ourselves whether we can trust the witness's testimony at... Uh-oh. Excuse me, what is it, Mr. Orley?
I did not want to be saying this, but actually you see here.
See what, Miss Orley? What do we see?
In the last hand, there was cheat.
Oh boy. A cheat? You don't mean a trick?
Wait, or do you mean a scam?
They're all the same thing.
Yes, there was cheat in the last hand. That is why game ends with chips as they are.
Great, just great. First we have lying, now cheating. Well, this case certainly has taken a turn. Really interesting.
Witness, you will please testify to the court. Tell us about this cheating in the final hand.
Okay, the final hand.
The last hand, both men are full house. There is 4 of each card in deck from ace to king. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious. The next moment, game becomes argument that the defendant's trick was exposed. He took ball in his hand, poor Mr. Smith.
Miss Orley, why did you not tell the court about this from the very beginning? I thought I smelled the cover up here.
Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers.
Oh, that was Apollo. God dang it.
Full house is a very high-scoring hand. Not easy to make it in my experience.
Then alone is enough to suspect less than scrupulous tactics. Mr. Gavin, what's a full house? Lawyers these days, you don't know your poker?
I can't say this bodes well for your case or career.
What is this, some kind of secret court poker ring? Justice, you know the terms 1 pair, 2 pair, and 3 of a kind, yes? Yeah, no problem. 2 cards with the same number makes a pair, and 3 makes a 3 of a kind. Good, now picture a hand with 1 pair and 1 3 of a kind. That's a full house. That doesn't sound very easy to make, does it? You can see each player's hand in this photo. Wow, they both have full houses. You forget there is an easy way to make a full house and go undefeated for 7 years. You cheat.
Ahem, the defense may cross-examine the witness.
If he did cheat in the last hand, there still is one more important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand. Who's ever heard of a professional con man losing when they cheat?
The final hand. I wonder if this is going to be like a short case like all the other ones. Okay. Hold it!
Just how hard is it to make a full house anyway?
It's quite hard, Doc. I was making a pair and a 3 of a kind at the same time.
I guess that's right.
Very difficult to be sure. You can take my word as a poker head of quarter number 3.
Very difficult, Doc, but it's not impossible.
Okay, full house hard. This line of questioning a waste of time. Hold it! Hold it!
4 of each card, you say?
There is 1 spade, 1 diamond, 1 heart, and 1 club for each card. It is interesting fact that this number 4 comes from number of seasons.
Huh? You don't say.
Did you know that the no cards are numbered 1 through 13? Add all the cards in a deck and you get 364 a year.
Huh? You don't say. Isn't that 1 day short?
That's why each deck has 2 jokers. They say the second joker stands for the leap year. Thus you have a perfect representation of the year, all in a deck of cards.
Huh, you don't say. We're gonna be in this courtroom for a year if it keeps going like this.
Hold it!
How is it clear?
Well, the defendant, he played a 5th ace.
5th ace? How is that even possible?
I still remember both hands very well. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces.
Oh, he had 2.
And Mr. Wright's too.
Obviously, cheating was afoot, or perhaps I should say a hand.
Your Honor, perhaps this can be added to the testimony without Mr. Payne's joke.
Very well. The witness will add this detail to her testimony, please.
Okay, Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces, and Mr. Wright's 2 has 5 aces in all. Okay. Probably going to lead us back to the chip photo again. Let's take a look here. So if I look at this, if we look at the screen here, so he has 3 sevens and 2 aces. And he only has 2 aces. That's only 4 aces. So she is a liar. Objection!
It appears the witness is mistaken.
Sorry, guys. There we go.
Mistaken? By name?
Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony.
That's the photo of the chips, is it not?
Justice, perhaps you want to explain without your point in a way that the judge can comprehend. In other words, use your finger to point out your point.
Yes, please point out the contradiction in this photo. What particular point contradicts the witness's testimony?
Okay, so he said so. Smith had 3, but he actually has 2. So it would be the bottom left one right here. Why, it's here, of course.
It's where?
Where is that you're pointing?
Where? Good question. Oh, what? What do you mean? That's his hand, isn't it? Is it this one up here? Miss Orley, in your testimony you made the following claim. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces. Okay, he was on the top. But as you can clearly see, the victim's hand only held 2 aces. Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in question. Take another look at the evidence. As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in his hand. Where's this 5th ace? I see cheating alright, and it's going on right here in this courtroom.
Yeah, baby. 2 aces in each player's hand does make 4 aces total. Hardly proof of cheating.
Wait, please, that's true. I've seen it the 5th ace. It was cheating, I swear to you.
That's odd. She must be lying, yet she's the most sincere I've seen her all day. You're right to trust your instincts.
Mr. Gavin?
Who knows what lies in store for us in the trial ahead? Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion.
What might that be, Mr. Gavin?
If you don't mind, perhaps we might examine the actual cards.
Cards?
Mr. Payne? Yes? The players' hands at night were set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards be shown to the court.
Very well. The prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine? The victim's cards or the defendant's cards?
If these cards don't prove nothing was going on, nothing will. Now, which of these hands is more suspicious? Well, it would probably be the victim's one, because that would give him more of a motive to kill him. Because if Phoenix actually killed him, it would have to be because he was cheating to win, and that's how he lost. Or that's how he would lost. That's how he would lose, I should say. So, we'll do victim's hand since it's the first option here. It was the victim hand that changed over the course of the witness's testimony. The defense requests time to examine Mr. Smith's cards.
Very well. Mr. Payne, if you would.
Very well. Alright, so we have the victim's hand. Well, time's a-wasting. Get to it, Justice. Yes, sir. Oh, it's clicking on it for us. We're gonna have to switch to the bottom screen here. We might have to end up doing this a couple times. That's okay. When examining evidence, be sure to view it from all sides and angles. Try using the dials in the evidence viewer. That should give you a better perspective on the case. Okay, let's do this. So yeah, we can move around here. You can use a circle pad if you have a 3DS. So we just click on whatever we can examine on. And we can use these little bars on the right to and we can rotate it side to side. So we were to flip it around. Oh! Look what we have here. It's a blue card. Check that out. What? Aha! This might take a little bit to get back to the setup. God dang it. I'm ruining the moment right now. Alright. Your Honor, look at this. One of the victim's cards. The back is a different color.
That's impossible. But I put that card in Wright's hand. Ah!
Oh! That was awesome. What was that, Miss Orley?
No, yeah, I mean, they said that I have.
Your Honor,
Mr. Gavin, yes?
Tell me, what is the easiest way to cheat at poker?
To cheat?
I'll tell you. One merely needs a friend, a comrade, shall we say. The dealer.
Wait, so you mean this witness, Miss Orley, she's the cheater, a professional, I'd wager.
Ah!
Yeah, we got you now, punk.
Order.
Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her. Of her mistake. Your Honor, please recall the testimony we just heard.
That's impossible, but I put that card in Wright's hand.
Ergo, Miss Olga Orley conspired to cheat, not with my client, but with the victim, Mr. Shady Smith.
Not only did she cheat, she cheated poorly. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim.
Wait, you don't mean the defense isn't accusing the witness, Miss Olga Orley, are you?
Time for justice. There were 3 people in the room at the time of the incident. And if Mr. Wright isn't guilty, that means I am. The defense accuses the witness, Miss Olga Orley, of murder.
Boom. Mr. Payne, where is the witness, Miss Olga Orley?
It appears she has lots of consciousness, Your Honor.
Mr. Justice?
Your Honor?
It seems you presented a new possibility to the court. One suggesting a connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Smith.
And that means
This court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time.
What? I did it. I held out.
I see no point in prolonging the trial this day. The prosecution will need to make further inquiries.
Oh! That's a Phoenix Wright objection. Mr. Wright, you can't enter the trial here, Your Honor. Not yet. What nonsense is the defendant spewing now? Think, one of the cards had a different colored back. Don't you wonder what it means? What are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raising objections right when you're about to get off the hook. Ridiculous.
Mr. Payne, you of all people should know. Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous. Perhaps we should get to the bottom of things. Let's clear up the facts about the game that fateful night.
As was said before,
We alternated between 2 decks of cards that night. That was said before. The 2 decks of the club had different colored backs, blue and red. 1 color per deck. Why use different colored backs? If we use the same color, the 2 decks might get mixed. You use different colors and they still got mixed up. We used the red deck for the last game.
I see, but that's odd. For some reason,
I just skipped right past that. Sorry. Yeah, me too. I'm sure someone said something about blue cards. Okay, that's probably what they were saying too. Whatever, in the end, 1 card of the wrong color got into the mix, which means it was cheating. Yes, the card slipped on the deck would seem to indicate cheating, yet this card raises 2 serious questions. Apollo? Yes? Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think, in the last game, when was the card swapped? When? There were 3 broad possibilities here. It could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder. Well, yeah, thanks for the news bulletin, Mr. Wright. Of course it was swapped. Oh? It might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne, or it might not be. Yeah. I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. When do you think the cards were swapped? When was the card swapped into the deck? Before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder? Alright, let's see if we can try to find out here. Victim Smith's hand was left at the scene of Full House. Just looking through the photos here. Well, they didn't actually catch each other cheating, so I'm thinking that might be after the murder. Because if they didn't catch each other cheating, then it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be as much of an incident as it was now. Perhaps it happened after the murder. What's that? Ridiculous. What's the point of cheating after the hands have been shown? That's silly. Yes, but tell me, how do you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible. Take it from me, son. There's a lot of silly in this world, but very little impossible. Oh, even when the backs of the cards are a different color? If you pulled that during the game, you'd be caught in no time. Ah, quite true. That would mean that the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown after the murder. That's right. Okay, this is going past silly and straight on to crazy. I ask again, what's the point of cheating after the game's over? Who would do that? Oh, indeed, that's one of the mysteries before us.
there's another?
Yes, a simple yet decisive question must be asked. Who swapped the red card for a blue card? Who? The game and murder is done. The victim is dead. Only 2 remain in the room, alive that is. The defendant Phoenix Wright and our witness Olga Orley. Okay, so who was it that swapped the red card for a blue? Phoenix Wright, Olga Orley, or someone else? Well, usually in the Phoenix Wright games, when someone else pops out, that's usually the option, so let's go with someone else. The one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Wright, of course, and well, it doesn't seem like it could have been Olga Orley either.
What are you suggesting?
That's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As a defense, I think it only makes sense for you to name Miss Orley at this point. Yes, I know. But she was the one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make the mistake of swapping the wrong color card.
If the card was swapped during the game, it'd be obvious.
Huh.
Something you'd like to share with the court, Mr. Wright?
Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. I was just thinking how much fun all this is.
Fun? How about confusing? I have no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If the one who swapped the card was a defendant and it wasn't Miss Orley, then who was it?
Yeah, well, that is the question, isn't it?
Precisely.
Huh? I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction.
New direction?
We'll find that indeed after the murder, someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hand, and that someone made two critical mistakes.
I'm sure you're going to tell us that the first was swapping the wrong color card.
Because the one who did the swap didn't know two colors of cards were being used. The other mistake was the number on the card. Right, the person replaced the fifth of ace with a king. I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a fifth ace after all. All they knew is that the game had been won with a full house, so they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in.
But there's one problem. According to our case record, that this person doesn't exist.
True, not until now, but you have to admit the possibility of a fourth person, though it's more than a possibility. There was someone else there that night at the scene of the crime.
What?
I believe the judge spoke truthfully, Elia. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright.
This trial has proceeded on one central assumption, namely that at the time of the incident there were only 3 people in that room.
I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption?
The problem is that you chose to conceal this information from the court.
I suppose that is a problem, yes.
Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess.
Certainly, Your Honor.
Very well, the trial will resume in 20 minutes.
Okay. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright. To suddenly claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it the truth? Well, now, I think you would know the answer to that.
Ah, being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I have no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defending to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome.
I see you haven't mellowed one bit, Christophe.
Justice?
Yes, sir?
The judge has summoned me to this chamber, so carry on without me.
You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright? Ah, you're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket. Here, you can take a look at it. That's a picture of my daughter in there. Oh, I see what it all looks like. Oh, what? This looks cool. I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days. One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? What do you think? Huh? You know what happened 7 years ago, what I did. It's not unreasonable for you to think I might cheat. I never, honest, but it is odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years. Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. Eh? You see, poker's all about reading your opponent. And that way, it's a lot like a court case. Poker is like trial law. Figure out what your opponent is thinking and you win. Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language could become a valuable source of information. You're kidding. That witness, for instance, Miss Orley. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? No. Come on, who noticed that? Words, habits, twitches, it's all information for the reading. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me, and now I pass the secret on to you. But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up on these signals. No, you can do it. Huh? You just don't know it yet. What's he talking about? But you will, soon. Ah, almost forgot. One more thing about this case. You should know, I haven't told the truth to anyone yet. What? I knew it. I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there defending me. I need your power. My, power? I had no idea my cords of steel were that special. It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best. Oh, to be continued. Alright, so this game does have to be continued, so that's good. Alright, this game is really, really cool. This game is really, really cool. Yeah, save it. Save our game. Alright, so tomorrow we will be continuing on this first case of Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. This definitely is different than the Phoenix Wright games, that's for sure. We will save our game and go back to the menu. Alright, so that is it for today for our first day of our Let's Play of Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. Tomorrow we will hopefully finish off the first case and prove Phoenix Wright not guilty, because that would be really bad if he was not guilty. So, thanks everybody for watching today's part for Apollo Justice Ace Attorney on the DS, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the next part. And besides that, I will see you guys in my next video coming soon. Objection!